Let's bring in Mississippi Congressman Michael Guest. Congressman, just how much fraud do you think will actually be uncovered?
I think that you'll see fraud probably in excess of well over $100 billion. I mean, let's just take Minnesota as an example. Minnesota, in one particular federal program, the Medicaid program, it is believed that the fraud in that program, in that state alone, was somewhere between $9 and $19 billion. And so if you extract that across the country, and look, many states do things much better than Minnesota. I think Minnesota is the prime example of how not to run a federal program. But I think you will easily see $100+ billion in fraud that will be uncovered. I hope that in addition to uncovering the fraud and stopping the fraud, that we also see the Department of Justice prosecute those people who are committing the fraud. And that's the biggest complaint that I receive at home when I'm back in Mississippi is when are we going to start seeing people held accountable? When are we going to start seeing people sent to jail for the fraud that they have conducted on the people of the United States of America?
Congressman, let me turn to the war in Iran and specifically the money aspect of it. There are grumblings on Capitol Hill that it's going to be a supplemental, that you're going to have to spend more now, or the Congress is going to have to approve more money for this war. What are you hearing, to use an old-time word, what's the scuttlebutt, if you will, on Capitol Hill about this?
Very likely that this will be part of a reconciliation package that Congress tries to get across the finish line sometime between now and this summer. And you're exactly right. We are going to have to pass additional funding for our military to resupply the armament that we've used, the missiles, the rockets that we've used throughout this conflict. I think that is clear. I think the easiest way to do that would be through a reconciliation package. And I believe that Mike Johnson understands that. And so as leadership is meeting, they're trying to put together those pieces. Will it just be strictly military spending, or will we try to add other things to that reconciliation package? But I think reconciliation is a great thing for Republicans. We need to continue impress our majority that we have, a narrow majority at that, but the American people sent us here to act. They sent us here to pass legislation. They sent us here to get things done, and a crucial key for us to be able to get things done is use that reconciliation package. Let's do Reconciliation 2.0. Let's fully fund our military and make sure that they have what they need to continue to conduct this dangerous mission in the Middle East and across the globe, and let's continue to try to live Reagan's vision of peace through strength.
Congressman, what are you hearing on the price tag for this? And I'm not talking about reconciliation writ large. I'm talking about specifically for the war. How much money are you hearing right now?
I'm hearing figures that are all over the place. And so, until we actually, get some good information from the administration to the Pentagon can give us good numbers on what they need going forward, we're kind of just going to be shooting in the dark. In the first reconciliation package, we did put $150 billion in for Department of Defense. Much of that was earmarked to things such as the Iron Dome and other programs. But we really need those hard numbers from the Defense Department before we can look at putting this package together. And look, we can also include some of this spending in FY27 appropriations. As we are gearing up and starting those negotiations, it doesn't all have to be in the reconciliation package, but that does seem to be the venue that we can use as Congress to get this through as quickly as possible and not have to worry about the delays. If we wait till the FY27 budget, that is not likely to be passed until late this year, possibly even early next year. Is going to require votes from the Democrats because you would have the filibuster, which is exactly what we're seeing now. We see the Democrats in the Senate filibuster DHS spending. They could do the exact same thing on military spending if we don't use the reconciliation process as the avenue to get that done.
Congressman, let's keep up the money talk. The Hill is reporting that Hakeem Jeffries is looking to force a vote on DHS funding without ICE and CBP. The discharge petition expected to come sometime later this week. Where do you, first of all, stand on this particular issue? Is there an appetite for funding DHS without funding ICE? And I guess kind of the third part of the question is, at some point in time, something's got to move because the FAA and the air traffic issues that are now the victims of this DHS funding fiasco are getting out of hand.
Yeah, I think Leader Jeffries is getting desperate. I think he's seeing the tide of public opinion turn on Democrats as we've seen recent terrorist attacks during the government shutdown, whether it be the shooting in Austin, in Minnesota, the attack there on the synagogue, the university shooting. We've seen cyber attacks in my home state of Mississippi. We saw terrible weather come across the United States. Some of that weather spawned situations where FEMA would have to respond. We've seen in airports across the country waits of 2 to 3 hours for individuals to be able to be screened by TSA to be able to travel on airlines. And so, look, I think this is a desperation move by the leader. The Democrats are losing the public opinion battle on this. Americans are clamoring for the reopening of DHS. And so I think this is a way for Leader Jeffries to deflect on the damage that his party is causing the American people. And look, I do think that we are less safe with DHS closed. We are doing so in a time in which we see the conflict in Iran. It's time to reopen DHS and reopen all of DHS, not just piecemeal it. Let's just not say we're going to open Part A, Part B. We need to open the entire agency all at once.
Well, Congressman, let's hope that we privatize the TSA so we don't have to deal with this next time the government shuts down. Sorry, Terrence, you knew I had to get that in.
I
really want that
was
TSA privatized.
I almost put that in my question. I was like, I should couch this for Dr. Gina even in the question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Congressman, inside joke for
Yes,
us.
yeah, Congressman Michael, and it's not a joke. We really do hope the TSA is privatized. You might tell your friends over there. We are so happy to have you on this show this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy St. Patrick's Day.